I just thought that I would read a few of the traditional tales that you guys did before the Easter holidays. I've chosen to read 3 just because I didn't want to drag the vlog out for too long. I hope you enjoy. This first traditional tale was by Max, and it is the story of Goldilocks and the 3 bears told from Goldilocks' perspective. I'm here to set the record straight. My name is Goldilocks, and I have to challenge you because people think I'm bad, but I'm actually the hero of this story. I was out walking the other day when I heard this terrible music that sounded like rock. I followed it to a little house. I found the little house that the music was coming from and peeked through the windows. Inside, I counted 7 dwarfs having a big party and eating porridge. Knowing this was against social distancing rules, I went inside and confronted them. The dwarfs didn't like this, and so they started fighting with me and each other. It didn't end well because I had a chair thrown at my head and it smashed to pieces. At this point, the dwarfs ran away. I felt really dizzy, so I went up to the bedroom for a lie down. When I woke up, 3 bears were standing over me. So being scared, I ran away and never saw the bears again. Now I hear that people think I was eating the porridge and breaking the chairs, but I stopped the dwarves doing even more damage. Well done, Max, that's excellent. This one is by Ollie. It's called The Ugly Duckling by Mrs. Debbie Duck. Mr. and Mrs. Duck, Debbie and Danny, were off out for the evening. They were going to meet up with Mrs. Duck's sister and her husband, Daphne and Darren, at Duck Diner, the new restaurant in their local town of Swanningham. Whilst their husbands were at the bar getting some fruit beers, Debbie and Daphne began to have a natter and a beak. "How are the quacklings?" asked Daphne. "Oh, they are wonderful. They're a wonderful trio," replied Debbie. Daphne immediately asked, "Didn't you once have 4? What on earth happened to the 4th one?" "Well," said Debbie, "it's quite a long story. The 4th one wasn't ever officially mine. One day I was waddling along the riverside when I found an egg. Well, I couldn't just leave it there, so I took it home and kept it warm along with my other 3. The day came for them to hatch, and hatch they most certainly did. 3 gorgeous golden fluffy ducklings popped out, followed by 1 fuzzy grey thing. Well, you can imagine the shock and horror when I saw it. I mean, I have severe OCD, and this was going to send my anxiety levels through the roof. I do have a heart, and I did try to accept it, even though it clearly didn't match." Daphne looked at her sister in horror. "What? You mean it wasn't a duck?" she gasped. Sadly, Debbie shook her head. "At first, I didn't know what it was, but I tried my best to love it like the others. One morning, I woke up and felt that I just couldn't take it anymore. She just simply didn't fit with the others, so quietly I woke up my 3 ducklings and my husband, and we crept away and left her behind. After a few days without her, I started to feel really guilty. Was she in danger? Was she eating enough? I had an inkling that she may be a cygnet and would grow into a swan, so I decided the best way to find her was to use Feather, the local search engine on the web. I feathered for a whole month, looking for where I might find groups of swans, or bevies as they were called. At last I found a clue as to where she might be. I waddled from the house as fast as I could, but just as I was desperately paddling along the lake, looking forward to seeing her to say how sorry I was, I heard a noise from above. I peered up and saw a large group of swans flying overhead. I smiled to myself. There she was, back where she belonged. Before Daphne had had chance to ask even one question, Darren and Danny came back with the fruit beers. "What have you 2 been quacking about?" said Darren. Debbie and Daphne smiled and winked at each other. "Nothing," they both quacked back. I thought that was a really lovely story, so big well done to Ollie. And the final one is by Luca, The True Story of the Hare and the Tortoise. It is time to set the story straight. People are wrong about me. I wasn't showing off. Here's the true story of what happened. Now, I was just out for my daily jog when I encountered Tortoise. He was also out for his daily exercise, and we stopped to have a chat. Usually, I don't see anyone because I'm so fast, you see. But being so speedy can be lonely. Hence, when I glimpsed Tortoise, I skidded to a halt. Tortoise clearly enjoyed listening to my interesting conversation about my sprinting skills. The fact he was so enthusiastic about it, he challenged me to a race. Now it was time for the race. All of the animals from the woods gathered together to watch the race. Cuckoo blew the whistle and we were off. I was off like a bolt of lightning, while Tortoise was as slow as a slug. A few minutes later, I realised how far ahead I was with my superior talent. I didn't want to make a fool of my wrinkly companion, so I kindly decided to wait for him. Tortoise was behind, and the sun was beating down on my soft fur. As a result, in a twitch of a tail, I had fallen asleep. Suddenly, I was woken up by a cry of the crowd cheering, "Tortoise, Tortoise!" I jolted up and sprinted as fast as my legs could carry me to the finish line, but it was too late. Tortoise had won. I was pleased to give him his moment of glory, as it would be the only race he would ever win. Thank you for that, Luca. That was really lovely. I've really enjoyed reading all of these traditional tales, guys. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. It's really good to see that everybody has been using the skills that you learned in your English lessons at school and you're applying them to your work. So a big well done to everybody who has sent those in to me. Hopefully we can put in as much effort and hard work this week as well on our English tasks and all of our other tasks as well. I hope you have a great day. Bye!